Welcome back to revision for 2019. We're looking at papers R101, R105 and R109 together. What I want to do is I want to look at the STAR question, the question that has 6 marks available. So here's 3 different questions from 3 different papers. So this is R101, R105 and 109. I just want to briefly look at, they can be very different questions. Notice that they don't always happen at the end of the paper. They can come at question 3, question 4, question 5. They can be the first one, A, the second one, B, C, D. There's no pattern to it at all. It just will be a longer question that will expect you to answer quite a lot for 6 marks. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have a look at each one of these, and I'm going to try and spend about 5 minutes on each, because that's about how long in the exam. If you think about you producing about a mark a minute, you need to be able to sort of tackle one of these quite quickly. What I want to try and show is that with a plan you can tackle any sort of question with the same plan, and we're going to look at a 6-step plan to match the 6 marks that we've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with R101, then we'll look at 105, and then we'll look at 109. Okay, what's the 6-step plan? Well, before you do anything, RTQ, read the question. Discuss how different types of power supply, so I'm talking about different types of power supply, impact on portability. These are important words. These are the things that I've got to try and use in my answer for electrical equipment. Okay, right. Going to give myself a couple of bullet points. So there's my 6 bullet points. This is my 6-point planning. Right, step 1. Paraphrase the question. This is rearranging the question for the examiner so that you can show you've read the question through. So it's a sort of an introduction, if you will, an intro. And then it's a case of think like an engineer, talk like an engineer. So, different types of power supply. So my plan of action for this is going to be thinking of different. So I'm going to go for 3 different power supplies on a portable electrical equipment. So I need an example of a portable electrical equipment. What could I talk about? I also need to be thinking about, it says different types of power supply. Okay, so that's the key thing. So there's mains, battery, and I'm going to go for another one, solar. Those are the 3 different power supplies. An example product might be, phone would be typical, but it's not connected to the mains. I'm thinking perhaps something to do with music, like a radio perhaps. And the reason I'm thinking radio is I'm thinking back to Trevor Bayliss, who produced a wind-up radio, which might be something that you might want to go and research to sort of expand your knowledge. So I can add wind up to my list, and then a sort of summary of my answer. With these 2, top and the bottom, they literally just need to be 1 sentence, because you don't want to spend a lot of time on these. The body of your answer, where your marks are in this section here. So the point I'm going to make is not portable. Batteries, impact on the environment, because the lead acid, or they contain various chemicals and they need mining, I'm thinking. Solar and wind, I can maybe join those together and talk about the environment. That's the impact. Remember, the impact is on portability. Mains is not portable. Battery, they can be quite heavy. You have to physically carry the battery, whereas the solar, and to some extent the wind-up, you don't have to carry batteries for that, although you might have some sort of storage for when it goes dark or the wind stops or when you can't wind it up. So there's a few points in there that I can discuss in my essay. Okay, so let's put that to one side for a second and let's see that planning again. So this is R105, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paraphrase an intro. Discuss how environmental pressure impact the development of a new product. So we've got to talk about the development of a new product, environmental pressures. Okay, so we're going to summarise at the end. One sentence. That's going to be one sentence. Need to get some points. Well, if you remember your lessons, we always talk about life cycles of a product and its impact. We talk about armoured mud, raw materials, the manufacture, the use and the disposal. So those would all be things that we could talk about. The raw material, manufacture, the use and the disposal. So there's definitely plenty in there to discuss. Environmental pressures impact on the development of a new product. So you could have choice of material. Manufacturing is always about the energy. The use, again, does it use energy? And perhaps the one where we can have the greatest impact, disposal. Is it recyclable? And in fact, choice of raw materials. Can we link those together? And there is a key term when we think about life cycles and impact on environment is cradle to cradle, which is this. This is taking a material that's been disposed and being able to use it as a raw material for a new product or the same product over and over. Okay, so there's my plan for that question. And let's look at the final one. So, RTQ. Read the question. Discuss the factors that should be considered before changing from manual CNC. Factors to be considered. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Intro. Summary. Right. Think like an engineer. Talk like an engineer. Factors that be considered for manual. So, changing from manual to CNC. What can you think of? And it's time to have a little 4 bullet points that you can talk about. So if you're going to change machines, you've got new machines. That makes me think new machines, there's cost, training, that might be a factor. New machines affects people, training, people, impact on the jobs, you have to think about that. Manually controlled machines, there's the instructions, the G code, instructions, that's part of the training as well. There's how will it impact on production quality? Might impact on the quality. So I've got machines, I've got costs, possibly training and quality. So that's one group there. That'll be cost and that's quality. Okay. Now I've got my plans. There's another little phrase, if you will. Plan your work. Work your plan. What this means is stick to it. Biggest problem with questions like this is students go off on a tangent, or they keep talking about one thing and they don't follow their plan. So they don't make three separate clear points. They don't introduce and they don't summarise. They just start talking and they go on about the same thing. Plan your work and then work that plan. Really important. Now, I'm not going to make you watch a video of me just writing out the answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete a short answer for each of these as an example, just to show you how I fit the points in and how I structure my sentences, and you can come back and have a read of these in a second. Okay? So here we go. Plan my work and then worked my plan. So I've introduced, paraphrase, different power supplies can impact portability, just like the question said, due to, and then I've sort of listed my key points: availability, weight, size, power needed. So I've sort of introduced what I'm going to talk about. I've given an example of a radio, for example. It could be battery powered. Batteries, environmental impact. If they're rechargeable, impact from fossil fuels. And if they're disposable, they create waste. Batteries are also heavy and have limited power. Solar, environmentally sound but limited by daylight, and so they are light and portable, so it's answering the question, but they're weather dependent. And then my final example is a wind-up radio, Trevor Bayliss style, so I'm showing knowledge of designers and different engineers. No batteries, so it's lighter, less impact on the environment, plus it's not weather dependent, and it's not dependent on the time of day. So in summary, batteries are heavy, solar is dependent on conditions, and a wind-up would be the most portable, as the power is always available from the user. And that, okay, you shouldn't, when it says end of question, you shouldn't write past that point there. You know, you should go over the next page. There's always extra paper available. It's just I wanted it all on one page for you to see. So, R105, and we were talking about environmental pressures and the impact on the development of a product. And we looked at raw materials, manufacture, use and disposal to do with the impact on the development of a product. So paraphrasing the question, a new product should consider environmental pressures by looking at, and I've listed the raw materials, manufacture, use and disposal. Designers could consider using pre-used materials, recycled polymers or recycled aluminium to reduce materials' impact on the environment. Done. 1. Energy use for manufacturing should be considered, e.g. using renewable energy. Use. Packaging is a key consideration, and using less packaging would help. Also designing for no batteries or reduced power or more efficiency. So use and energy. And disposal. So finally, design for disassembly to help with disposal and recycling, e.g. reusing waste materials as new raw materials, cradle to cradle. Yeah, got that. Got disposal. Perhaps need to summarise, but I'm feeling quite comfortable with that, so I think I would let that go as an answer. And finally, R109. Let's see what we can do with this. So just to break this down then, I've looked at my first bit, my paraphrasing, factors to be considered when switching from manual to CNC. So I've listed my 3 key points: cost, people and quality. That's that first stage. So I'm just going to go through this one step by step. So here we're going to talk about the cost. A new machine is going to be costly. So I need to finish this as a sentence by thinking about going to be costly, but increased speed and accuracy would improve production improve quality and accuracy. So improve profit. So there has to be a positive to that cost. So I'm liking that. And also I've sort of almost brought in my quality thing there. New machine is going to be costly. New machine will need trained staff. This might mean redundancy or, this is a better answer, retraining and upskilling existing staff. Example, e.g. training to use G-code. So think like an engineer, talk like an engineer. Got a nice example there that shows that I know what I'm talking about with regards to CNC machines, showing off my knowledge. So new machine will need trained staff. So 1 bullet point, 2 bullet points, so I need another one here. Quality. CNC can be more accurate, repeatable, standard, and so lead to better quality. reduced errors, saves time, and really important, customer confidence. And saves waste materials. And if I was going to summarise that, it would close with something like new machines cost but bring several benefits. Okay. So 3 questions, all answered in 20 minutes. Remember this: plan your work, work your plan, and stick to it. And 3 questions in 20 minutes, plenty of time in the exam. I hope you find that useful, and good luck in the exam.